U.S. President Joe Biden and Russian leader Vladimir Putin are meeting this hour in Geneva. The two leaders are holding their first summit since Mr. Biden became president. The stage is set for a tense meeting with relations between both sides at their lowest point in years. Up to 5 hours of talks are planned, with no shared meals in between. Both sides are at odds over a large range of issues, from cyberhacking to election interference to Ukraine.
Настрой разговор сегодня будет не из простых, это будет очень сложная беседа, очень много вопросов на повестке дня, вопросы в российско-американских отношениях в основном проблемные, и вопросы страт стабильности, и вопросы чисто двусторонних отношений. Как говорили, у нас много завалов, которые надо разгребать, и поэтому президент Путин прилетает с настроем откровенно и конструктивно ставить вопросы и пытаться выходить на решения.
Lucy Hoff is in Brussels with more. Lucy, is the sense then that both sides are going into these talks with lowered expectations on what can actually be achieved?
Yeah, there has been expectation management for both sides in this, warning that there is unlikely to be any major diplomatic breakthrough given the swathe of issues that have built up over time. Certainly from the Russian side, the Russian government saying that really relationships have never been at this low an ebb. So this is a chance to essentially air out some of the many grievances that have managed to pile up. From Biden's side, he said that he doesn't intend to hold back, that he will approach many of the difficult issues confronting relations between Moscow and Washington, namely a spate of recent cyber attacks, which U.S. intelligence services accuse Russian hackers of being responsible for, something the Kremlin strongly denies, but attacks that have been increasingly sophisticated on the Colonial Pipeline, on one of the U.S.'s largest meatpacking services that caused huge disruption to supply chains. The U.S. will also accuse Russia of meddling in its elections, in waging war with its neighbours. So some very difficult conversations to come, but really the choreography of this really suggests also that this is very different to summits that have come before under President Putin since he took power back in 2000. We've just seen the two leaders go into the 18th century villa on the banks of a lake in Geneva for these talks, expected to run for as long as 5 hours. Uncharacteristically, President Putin was on time. Biden, by contrast, was 9 minutes late. Some pretty frosty body language from the two of them as they went into these very long and potentially difficult talks. There will be no joint press conference afterwards. Instead, both leaders will be speaking separately to reporters.
Is there any room at all for progress, or at least to move some of these thorny issues forward?
I mean, when we talk about specific issues, there is room for potentially some progress on areas like Afghanistan, the withdrawal of US and NATO troops from the region in September, on arms control, on the Iran nuclear deal, for which Russia is, of course, one of the parties. The US hoping to get back around the negotiating table, and those talks have been restarted over the weekend. From the Russian perspective, this is about showing Russia as a serious international power player. It was something of a coup for the Kremlin to secure a one-on-one interview with President Biden so early on in his presidency. But that has been countered somewhat by President Biden. For him, the best possible outcome is what he's describing as strategic stability, some sense of predictability and stability in relations between Washington and Moscow. This is about dialogue as part of a two-track approach to relations with Russia that are once about maintaining dialogue, maintaining those channels of communication, but also building up strategic defence in the face of Russian threats.
Lucy Hoff in Brussels, thank you.